God bless you. Welcome to Growing in Grace, where we are striving to do what we can to help others to grow in grace and in knowledge and bless their families and their lives together. And we acknowledge that as we grow and live in life, we learn and we develop and we don't stay the same. And so we appreciate how God is able to allow us to grow in grace and knowledge and share knowledge with others so that they might grow. And so we're glad that you're here with us. We'd like for you to like, share, subscribe this podcast and let your family and friends know about this Growing in Grace podcast. And today we have a special guest, Cameron Searcy.
Yes, sir.
He's one that helped us in the church work here, and we appreciate him. Deacon Searcy is an official title, but we appreciate him for how he serves with us.
Thank the
And
Lord.
he has a son and 2 daughters.
Yes, sir.
And right now he's really engaged in being a girl dad.
Yes.
And because your son is about, what, 20?
20 years old.
20 years old.
Yes, sir.
And your girls are
15 and 9.
15 and 9. So
Yes,
they're,
sir.
they're in the house with you.
Yes, sir.
And you're kind of actively engaging in being a father to 2 girls.
Yes, sir.
Well, I say that. You're still a father to your son.
Yes.
Because it looks like that doesn't stop.
No.
It looks like it just transitions to life coach.
Yes. Yes.
I would
that's-
say,
a great
as they
term.
get old, it's more like a life coach. He kind
Yes.
of guiding, coaching
Yes.
along, and if you do this, this can happen. If you do
Right.
that can happen.
Right.
But when they're in the house, it's more of direct leadership.
That's right.
That's and direct parenting.
Yes.
And so today we want to talk some today about how to be a father to daughters.
Yes.
How to be a father to daughters, because daughters are different from sons.
That's true.
And so this conversation is more in that line of being a father to a daughter.
Yes.
One of the things that's kind of sparking this conversation is the fact that some fathers have not taken on that responsibility well and have somewhat mistreated the daughters, and some may not even know that that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes what we want to do is we want to bring awareness, because if you want to grow in an area, sometimes you need to put some attention on that area.
That's right. Invest.
Yes.
Invest in that time.
Yeah.
I think about with my daughters. Sometimes I have to be uncomfortable because I'm doing things that they want to do,
Yeah.
so that they can feel comfortable in that setting to be able to want to spend time with dad. Is I don't want to be a chore for my daughters to. Well, dad say we got to go outside with them, or dad say he wants to talk to us. I don't want to be like a chore or burden for them. I want them to willfully want to do that.
Yeah.
To want to come and spend time with me. And me, I don't look at it as something I don't want to do, because I want to talk to them. I want to invest that time. I want to understand how they're thinking.
Yeah.
And you talked about life coach. That's absolutely correct for my son. But even with my daughters, just trying to navigate some of the issues that they're facing, whether it's in life, in school, with their friends, and being able to course alter that, or give them some alternatives to what they might be thinking at a peer level.
Yeah, and so part of being able to do that, and even to transition from direct parenting to life coach, you've got to foster the relationship.
That's it. Yes, sir.
And the sooner you foster the relationship, then the more likely you can become life coach.
Yes. Yes. And
Because they won't let you graduate if you don't. What I'm saying is simply this: if you don't foster it well in the house, when they move out, then you won't be much to them.
That's true.
It's
That's
what I'm
true.
saying. They won't allow you to speak into their life anymore
Right.
because they don't have to.
That's right. That's right. And something you said was you got to foster that relationship.
Yeah.
And that is key. Understanding that every relationship is built on one conversation at a time. Right? All the conversations I have with my girls, they aren't the best. However, they're done through love. They understand that the instruction and the knowledge that I'm giving them, I'm not with a malice intent. I'm not trying to be vain in what I tell them. I'm telling them things based upon personal experience and the oversight that God has placed in me for the trajectory of their lives. I think about so many times they aren't allowed to do certain things and go certain places simply because of the climate that the world is in and the peers that's out there. Being wise to that point and telling them not just, no, you can't go, or because I said so, but giving them some more context to that solution, right?
Yeah.
This is why. This is potential that could happen. If somebody gets pulled over and you're in this car, guess what? Everyone in this car is now in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Or putting yourself in a situation to where someone takes advantage of you.
Yeah.
The best solution is never set yourself up in that situation. But of course, if you have never been taught that and have those values instilled in you, you don't know.
Yeah, 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 and that's what you want to do. You want to really begin to you're raising daughters.
Yeah.
You know, they want to always be girls. You're raising them to become women.
Yes.
And they're different from boys.
Yes.
That's one of the caveats I like to just kind of hone in, talk about for a little bit. The difference between boys and girls.
Yeah.
You know, and raising them and what you got to instill maybe a little different. Sometimes I'll say this and then I'm going to turn it to you. But sometimes you get this situation where people say, treat them all the same. Treat your children the same. Treat them all the same. Treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
I treat everybody the same. And I think I know what people mean.
Right.
Because that's
Right.
actually not the right thing to do.
No.
So with people or with children.
That's right.
And even if you've got all your children are girls, you should not treat all your girls the same.
That's true.
No, let's talk about your girls versus your boys.
Absolutely.
But right now, can you speak to the girls versus the boys? And then I want to talk about the girl versus the girl because you got two girls, and I actually have two girls and a son, right. and neither one of them are the same as each other.
That's right.
So speak to
different personalities.
Yeah.
Just going to the difference between my son and my girls. My son is a little bit more rough with him, right? Because you do not want your boys to grow up in the world to where they're entitled, right? Where they get a lot of things handed to them. You want them to experience the struggles, some of the disappointments, letting them fall, because you want to build up in them something with that nature that you're a man, right? Build that up in you so that you understand that, hey, when you get knocked down, you want to have that strength, that internal strength to get up. Because when you mature into an adult and you do find yourself a wife, you don't want your wife to feel like you're not able to be a man and stand up when situation arise that may not be pleasant. And you still have to stand up and show that strength. Whereas she's looking to the man is looking to Christ for his strength, but you don't want a woman to look to that man and say, well, he just as weak as I am. That's a poor relationship there. So with my girls, what I'm intentional about with my girls is I'm making sure that they understand that when they fall, that I'll be there to catch them. Now in life, you're gonna fail. And I tell them this, but what you can rely on is support. When your mom and I cannot be there, you have Christ to lean on to support you. I tell them, I make sure I tell them almost every time I can that they're beautiful, that I love you, because I don't want another boy. We used to say, well, you don't want Johnny down the street, or now you got to worry about Tyrone and Taquez and Marquise. So I don't want them telling my daughters that they love them, and then they say it's the first time a man said that they love them or that it was beautiful, take advantage of them. I'm trying to instill in them that what they have in them already is enough. You don't need the eyelashes and the nails and all this other stuff to be beautiful. You are beautiful just the way you are. And to recognize that very early on and not to be misled or beguiled by someone just telling you soothing words and soft things to your ear. And then looking at my daughters separately, different personalities. My oldest daughter, she's more quiet and reserved. My younger one, she's more outgoing. And knowing how to deal with both of them in the same way to where I can get the results. Whereas I look at with my oldest daughter, I can just speak loud and she will conform. She will do what I need her to do. With my youngest daughter, you might have to, do a little bit more intentional hand giving with her, because she's a little bit more not rough, but she's a little bit more demanding of, hey, you have to show me. And understand the difference between the both of them and the difference between all three of them with how I parent them. I'm still the same parent, but I understand what gets results with each of them, which is different.
Yes, yes, and you have to pay attention to them,
Yes,
and begin to know what each one needs. What is the need for each one?
yes,
And with girls, it's different from boys. It's
it
different. The
is.
need is totally different.
Yeah,
And I know we're in a society where like they're trying to make it all the same,
it's not.
and that's just a lie. It's just a
It's not.
flat lie. The boys are different from girls, and girls are different from boys, and they should not be raised exactly the same.
That's right.
And even when you are preparing them for life, the life that they're going to live should be different.
It should
It
be.
should be
It
different.
should be.
It should be
Absolutely.
different, just like you just alluded to, how that your son perhaps should get a wife
Yes.
and be a provider and be, the head or the leadership of that home.
Right.
However, if your daughters were to get married, they should marry a man who should be a husband and a leader and a head.
Absolutely.
So then you got to prepare them for how to find or what to look for in somebody that you should say yes to marriage to.
Yes, I tell you, I've heard that having daughters, that the daughter's first love should be their father, because the man that you want your daughter to marry is someone who is showing the same values that they grew up seeing in their father. Someone who's treating their mother right, who's caring for her mother, who is a provider, who's a protector, who's leading them in the path of righteousness, who's giving them those good foundational aspects to be able to, when they mature into adulthood, that they seek out those same qualities, because they see how the success of the home matters with two people who are working together. Not being forceful to the wife, not treating the wife all mis kind of ways, but treating her really as the weaker vessel and honoring her like that, and showing honor. I think that when the girls see a father doing it to the wife, that then it makes them easier to submit to their own husband if they can see it growing up in the home.
Well, and then to look for those qualities in a man.
Yes.
And say, okay, now dad treated mom like this. Now this guy's gonna treat me like this. I'm not accepting that.
That's right.
You get to stepping.
Yes.
Step on.
When you see those signs, run.
Well, and so what we want to do is, as fathers, is actually be a good example of a man
Yes.
in front of our daughters.
That's right.
And as you alluded to, of course, treat the mother with respect and honor, but also treat the daughters with a level of respect and honor.
Yes.
And like I said, foster that relationship with them, and then feed into them their value and their worth.
Yes.
Because if we don't show them an example of what a man should look like, and then they don't have the value for themselves, then you're setting them up for accepting really low quality men.
That's right.
Low quality men. And if a father is a low quality man, then sometimes that daughter may still want a man like no quality dad.
That's right. That's right.
Low
That's so
quality
true.
dad. Low quality dad. She still may be looking for a guy like that.
Yeah.
And then so we don't want that.
No.
So all men really, sometimes we think about, we are the heads. Men are fathers are supposed to be the heads. And I even notice what the scripture says. It says, and you fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord.
Yes.
And it is our responsibility.
That's right.
It's not mom's.
No.
Now mom can help and should help. She is the helpmeet. However, it's our leading role
Yes.
to provide that right environment for our children to be nurtured and brought up.
Right. And that's an awesome opportunity for us, because that's the foundation that the rest of their lives are going to be based off of, is that foundation. And I think about, I keep going back to the relationship, how to really foster that relationship. I look at my own situation with my girls. A lot of times I just go in a room and sit with them. I don't have to change it and put on ESPN or the football game. I'm finding out what interests them, and I'm learning what interests them to be able to have those conversations, to be able to meet them where they're at,
Right.
but having the wisdom enough not to leave them where they're at, to be able to guide them from where they're at to where we need them to go. And a lot of times, I know sometimes my girls may be doing something, and I can feel like they're busy, right? They're too busy for me. And so I would just sit there. And I was like, Dad, you're not leaving? No, I just want some of your time. I just want some of your time.
Yeah.
Now, whether you're busy doing your homework or you're on roadblocks or books, I'm saying it wrong. They probably won't get me for saying the road. But I just want some of your time to let you know that I am here. And I'm not. I still don't. I don't like the term when parents say they're spending time with their children. I'm in investing time with my children.
Yeah, I get that because sometimes people use the wrong term.
Yes.
They use the wrong term, even when it comes down to finance. If you spend when you don't get a return, if you get a return, then it's an investment.
Yes.
And so when you really pour into your daughters, then actually you got to watch out. They even if you got sons, if you don't mind, your daughters may be the ones that really come back and take care of you.
Yes.
Them boys, they be going on, they be doing their own thing. But them girls, if you don't mind, you just look at this the situation. Oftentimes, the girls, they're going to be the nurturing ones and that nurturing spirit.
Yes.
And so, as a father, them girls, they'll come back and take care of you.
Thank the Lord.
But the boys, they might be doing their own thing, raising their own family and with their own situation. They're busy. But and sons may do the same. They may take care, but really invest into those daughters and into those girls. Another thing about that is love. One of the love languages is quality time.
That's right.
It's quality time, and I will say this, that sometimes people think that, well, I'll just work overtime and then I'll buy them this. And it's not equal.
No,
it's not equal. Sometimes all that girl wants is to see your face.
Yes.
And to actually be able to speak to you and to have some time with you.
That's right.
And to be able to share some of what they're going through, especially if you foster the right relationship with them. If you don't foster the right relationship with you, then they may not actually want to spend time with you.
That's right.
But you want to make it where they would like to spend that time with you. And they would enjoy that time. And sometimes you've got to kind of, like you said, kind of press the issue a little bit. Not be overbearing.
No.
But make it where there's continuously willingness.
Yes.
Make it a willing thing, continuously willing.
That's right.
But if you're too forceful and everything, I'll say this, and I'm gonna turn it to you, but I'll say this: you can. How do I say this? You can't make somebody respect you, love you, want to spend time with you. You can't make that.
No.
I'm talking about out of force.
No.
In order to get those type of things where they want to spend time with you, they respect you, they love you, those are matters of the heart and the desire. That has to be created and fostered by proper treatment.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
But now if you are demanding of respect and you're going to force it in and you're going to use abusive language and tone and all of that, you can make somebody do certain things, but those things from the heart, you can't make.
And what happens in those environments is they will conform just as long as they're in your house.
Yes.
And once they exit your house, then you will see a totally different person. You talk about that return on your investment of spending time. Well, once they leave out that house, your return is gone now. That return is not going to come back because now you wonder why don't my child come see me, or why don't they ever call me, because of how that environment they was cultured in, how that really manifested in their heart. And so spending the right time and creating the right environment and the right foundation with your girls now. And it's going to take doing some things that they want to do. Yeah. They may not want to go to a football game. They may want to go ice skating. Yeah. They may not want to watch boxing. They may want to watch some other show. But being able to say, you know what, I am willing to invest my time with you to do what you want to do.
Yeah. So now let's speak a little bit about quality time. And what does that look like?
It looks like not just being one-sided, because one-sided with quality time, it goes back to you're forcing them to do something. But really having the conversation on the front side, understanding what are some of their likes, dislikes. It's bad when you don't even know your child's favorite color, right? What is her go-to song when she's happy? Like her theme music when she's happy, right? What is her favorite go-to phrase. Like my girls have a phrase now, and I forget what it is. She told me, Dad, I can't use it because I sound old when I use it. So, but learning those little things about your girls and having the time to where they are truly themselves. A lot of times what I have found out is my girls put up a wall until they get to know you, right? They put up this barrier. And then once I find out, oh, okay, I kind of sort of like you. So now I can let my wall down gradually over time.
It's true. Because I'm building a relationship with your daughters as pastor, and so they're actually becoming a little more.
Their wall is going to be up.
Yeah.
But gradually they'll begin to show you more of their personality, who they are, what their likes and dislikes are. And you really be able to see what makes them and what makes them different. Their sense of humor is different between the two of them. But understanding, like, if they're laughing at something, I try to get understanding of why they're laughing. Then I try to see it from their point of view, why it's funny, so that I can continue to foster that environment. And then they tell me that they don't like to laugh at my dad jokes, so I got to figure out their jokes, what they like. But really, the fostering an environment to where quality time isn't forced, but rather it's, hey, Dad, what you doing? And I may just literally be on the computer looking up things, and I'll say, well, what we doing? You know, change from what I'm doing to what we doing, and we'll go outside or find something together to do. But just
because you can tell that they kind of want to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to shut down like, oh, I'm busy, or hey, I got this to do or that to do. It's plenty of times to do what that other thing is. But it may not be all the time for them, especially if they're going through something and just want someone to talk to, that you create that space for them, especially if they're soliciting it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you want them to keep doing that.
Yes.
And if you always appear busy, then after a while, they'll stop asking.
Yes, they will. And the person that they follow up, because they're going to ask somebody. You don't want it to be a peer who point of view is going to be on their same level, who cannot guide them in certain situations. And then you do not want it to be someone who is not looking out for their best interests.
Somebody who want to take advantage of them.
Take advantage of a predator. You know, you don't want those to be the ones that they go to for advice or start to have all these conversations with, so that the other person on the opposite end of that spectrum begin to learn more about your daughter than you do. Yeah. Because then now they have certain power over your daughter to recommend certain things. Then your daughter start acting out and doing things because that person's recommending those things to them. Yeah.
And then we're trying to figure out, okay, where this is coming from?
Yes.
Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Where's the source of this?
Absolutely.
And you know, even the scripture says that evil communication corrupts good manner.
That's right.
And so as much as we can communicate with our own daughters and foster the right relationship with our own daughters, then perhaps we can cut back and cut down on the evil communication. Now, I will say this, there's probably going to be some of that.
Yeah.
So, but we've got to counter it.
Yes.
And the reason why I say this is because we're not with them all the time.
No.
So it's definite that we're going to have to counter some of the things that they're going to hear outside of our presence,
right?
So that they can be prepared to resist.
Yes, and that's why building that relationship and that foundation is so important. So when they hear something that's contrary or hear something that's strange, if you had a relationship, they'll say, "Well, I heard this today," or "What do you know about this?" And you can see the signs. It may not be just blaring out to them, but you can see the signs and the symptoms of it. And you say, "No, I wouldn't do that because this will lead to this, or this could turn out to be this." Right. Whereas that person telling you this is not telling you their real intent from the first point.
Yes.
But having that wisdom to tell your daughter that's where that foundation and building that relationship. To have that communication.
Yeah, and really, you want your daughters to be able to talk to you about whatever. And one of the things that I have a little experience with is when they begin to open up to you, you got to let them. And what I mean by that, even though it could make you feel a little uncomfortable, it would be best if you didn't show that to them.
Yes. And
as a father, it would be best if you didn't show it to them and act like almost, even though you might be shocked, don't act like that.
Yes.
Just act calm and stay calm and keep your ears open.
Yes.
Keep your ears open. Don't shut them down. Keep your ears open and let them keep talking.
Yes.
And when they get through talking, they're not in trouble.
No.
They're not in trouble.
No.
Now you're ready to give them what they need.
Right.
Give them what they need because you want them to talk to you.
Yes.
Rather, even about those uncomfortable subjects,
Absolutely.
talk to dad rather than somebody that's going to take advantage of you.
Absolutely. And you said something, just keep your ears open.
Yes.
Because when your daughters start to open up to you, please do not shut them down, or please do not say, oh, you embarrassed me, I can't believe you said that, oh, you're wrong. No. Create that environment to when they start opening up that you listen.
Yeah.
Just listen, because sometimes all a child wants is you to listen to them.
Yeah, and a no judgment zone.
Yeah.
Like my gym I go to. This is the no judgment zone. Well, the thing about it is, how do I say that? Because I mean that, no judgment zone. Not to say that you don't exercise judgment, but don't judge the child or the daughter for coming to you and talking to you. You want to help them to begin to understand and to begin to develop their judgment.
Yes.
But if you judge them as they talk to you about issues, then they're going to feel condemned, and then they're not going to want to talk to you.
Absolutely. And some of the best advice once you finish listening is to give them your personal example. There's something that's relating to them.
Yes.
So they know they're not out there by themselves.
Yes, and transparency.
Yes.
Not to say that you got to tell everything and all the little details. However, if you can actually make yourself more human to your daughters and be relatable
Yes.
and be honest and share what you can.
Yes.
Share what you can. Be wise, because I am not in no way saying tell it all.
No, don't do that. Because you're giving them ideas.
Be wise,
Yes.
but be transparent.
Yeah.
As transparent as you can be.
Yeah.
And then you become more relatable. And then they'll feel that comfort that, I'm going to talk to dad.
Right.
I'm going to talk to dad about this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love the fact that you have to form that relationship. Just back to that relationship, right? When they're talking to you and you know, based on that relationship, whether or not this is a conversation that, hey, maybe I need to tag in mom, because some conversations you might have to get that partner in with you. Or if, hey, this is something I can really give the right instruction to and not confuse my daughter, not shy her away from me, but give her sound advice to where she can say, you know what, I can do this. Because you still, once you give her that advice, you have to build her confidence up that she can do that.
Yeah. And, so I like to transition a little bit into looking at body image and confidence. I know that that's a situation with girls more than boys.
Yes.
Boys, they're different. But we're talking about the girls today.
Yeah.
Now, the girls, body image and their confidence in how they look and their hair and their complexion and then
Their body is transitioning too.
Transitioning, puberty,
Yes.
pimples, acne,
Yes.
all of that.
All of that.
And so we have to, as fathers, nurture them to understand that what God made them to be, that is beautiful.
Yes.
That is beautiful.
And really going through that transition, I remember when my 15-year-old was going through that, how she felt, and just constantly remind her that you are beautiful, that you are beautiful. You see all these images that's out there on TV and in books and different things, and that's somebody else's image or perception of beauty. But what you see in the mirror is beautiful. And understanding that you are beautiful just the way you are.
Just the way you are. And another thing, like you said, those images, a lot of them are just absolutely fake.
Yeah, they're filtered.
Absolutely fake.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they are really not who that person really is. No. They make themselves up, one thing, and then, especially on magazines and stuff like that, after all of the makeup, they're photoshopped.
Yeah.
They're photoshopped. It's not real.
Even on the phones now, for different apps, you can make yourself look younger. You can make yourself have different types eyes and lips.
Look like a puppy.
all
Other
these-
types of creatures.
all these different filters.
Exactly.
And you think about
Skin make it look like it's just like a smooth, nothing, just smooth like butter.
right. And you meet this person in person, you're like, who is this? It's not the same.
What they call that? Catfish?
Cat-
So you catfish me.
but that's right. That is what's going on.
Yeah.
And understand that they are beautiful just the way they are, and they don't need all of that.
They really don't. They really don't. And one of the things I would like for fathers give some ammunition to our fathers is this one thing. And you can begin to even have these conversations with your daughters. Somebody want to look like you.
That's right.
See, you trying to look like somebody else, and somebody want to look like you.
That's true.
It's actually a little sad.
Yeah.
Like even a dark person, they want to be light.
Yes.
Then the light person, they want to be dark. They're admiring your complexion,
Right.
and you're admiring somebody else's complexion, and you want to be them, and they want to be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your hair has this kinkiness to it, and you don't want your hair to be like that. You want it to be like the other girl's hair,
That's right.
and she wants her hair to be like yours.
That's right.
Why are you trying to trade places when you are beautiful in your way and the other person is beautiful in their way?
And I tell you, it's so important as fathers, especially being that male in that home, to tell your daughters that they're beautiful.
Yes.
Especially when they're going through puberty in their bodies, when their bodies is transitioning, because they don't always feel beautiful. They don't always feel like they're pretty.
Yeah.
They don't always feel like that someone sees them and recognizes them, right? So making sure that you call that out and be intentional with that. Now, don't just wake up every day and say, baby, you're beautiful. But you got to be saying, hey, you know what? I love the way you did your hair today. It's really standing out. You are gorgeous. Put some effort into it. Because if you get to the point where we're just doing it superficial, they're gonna see through
They'll
that.
know it. They'll know
But really put effort into your daughters when they do something, when they change their hair, call that out.
Yeah.
Or when they have an outfit on, you can tell when they think they're dressing, because they'll come down a certain way. But really call that out. And I would like to say, as that bring up a point of my daughters, when you say somebody wants to be like them, so they wear dresses, and even them transition schools when we relocated, coming to the school now, that's something that's noticeable. But then someone saying, "Hey, I want to wear dresses and skirts too," like being that influencer. You don't have to always be influenced by someone, but you can influence somebody to want to be like you because you are different.
Yes. And that's what one of the things we should encourage. Be the influencer.
Yes.
Don't always have somebody influencing you.
No.
Stand out and stand up. And you are holy. You are
Yes.
sanctified. And this is one of the things we're raising too. We're trying to just not raise daughters to be worldly. We want them to be godly.
That's right.
And that's another thing about it. And that's one of the things I'm trying to encourage in all of the women is to stop with the fake things and go
Right.
with the real things.
Yes.
Who you really are, because you're already beautiful. You
Already
really are. And I even told one of my daughters this. I said, they were trying to do some fake stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And I told him, I said, now, if I didn't think you was beautiful, I wouldn't tell you that.
That's right.
I probably just wouldn't say anything. I'm not going to be mean and say, oh, yeah.
Well, in that situation, you say, well, she got a nice smile.
And I genuinely thought, she was beautiful.
Yes.
And you don't need all of that excess. And I will say this too. Here's another thing about a lot of that extra stuff that people put on. I have seen it where it doesn't add, it detracts. It takes away. It takes away. Especially when they go to excess.
Yes.
And so I've seen this now, and I'm not just talking about as a godly man. I'm talking about even as a worldly guy who was lustful and lusty and just out there, trying to. I saw that and said, yeah. And they were doing all this extra stuff, and they didn't look real. Don't look real. And so really to be real is better than to be somebody else.
Yes.
And the Lord take pleasure in his people.
Absolutely.
In the book of Psalms 149 and 4, and he beautifies the meek with salvation. And so I think that's one of the things that we really need to speak into our daughters, that beauty is not just about what you see in the mirror.
No.
It goes deeper than what we see in the mirror.
That's right.
Your attitude, how you speak, and how you
Yes.
conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, your
Yes.
character.
Yes.
Because you know, you've been out there,
Yeah,
and when you're still a man, I'm still a man myself.
Yes, sir.
And so reality is that we've seen beautiful women,
Yes.
nice bone structure, nice complexion,
Yes,
whatever,
yes.
different complexions. You ain't got to be no one complexion to
No,
be beautiful.
no.
But different, nice complexion, nice hair, whatever.
Yes.
Then they start talking. It's like, what? What? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Nothing like
Nothing.
the outward appearance.
Nothing.
In fact, it just takes it all away.
Yes.
So that beauty, speak to that.
Yes, absolutely. And you hit it right on the head. You can have the outside, but the inside is corrupt. But having something on the inside, what will make someone, especially our daughters, not just our daughters, but our sons, but will really make our daughters more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they're fearfully and wonderfully made, but having that precious spirit of Christ dwelling in them, to give them a meek spirit, to give them soft words in the midst of a chaotic environment.
Yeah.
That really creates a beautiful environment.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk about baby doll for a minute. So
Baby doll, who's baby doll? You can't just throw a term out like that and not tell everybody who baby doll is.
So baby doll is my wife.
Okay.
I can't think of too many times I call her by her real name.
Okay.
But her spirit,
Your wife of how many years?
it'll be my wife of 10 years, September the 7th.
Yes.
However, 20 years from conception to I guess now,
Yeah,
right, and
yeah.
counting, but 10 years.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the first couple of years, outside of the 10 years, she had a different spirit than what she has now.
Yes.
And I recognize it, and she recognized that. And I love how the Spirit says, to dwell with one with another. And once we got married and actually, began to lay off those different things from our past and really engage in love. And what I mean by engage in love, engage in God. Because I couldn't really love my wife the way I needed to love her until I got God in me. Same with my wife. She couldn't love me the way I needed to be loved until she got God in her. Yeah. And now the relationship is so beautiful. So the example that my girls have of how my wife and I interact with one another is beautiful. Like even I go to bed early, right? And sometimes I say, well, dog, come on and get in the bed. And she'll tell the girls, well, I got to go to get in bed with your dad. It's a joke, But I understand that because even though my girls see that, they see how we dwell with each other, how we work things out, how we talk to one another, how it's not arguments. And I think that in that type of environment, they see that spirit that their mom have and how that spirit relates to mine. And that should be something that all of our daughters see in their house, where their mom is submissive to their husband, and she's not submissive to me. Guess what? I'm not always right. And so I give my wife the same courtesy, and they see that back and forth. So that allows them to see what a holy relationship is supposed to be like. But having that spirit on the inside is really what causes that beauty, that true inner beauty, to where you're not searching externally for someone to validate what you already know you have inside of you.
And that's what you need, something inside.
Yes.
And without something inside, then you're like a shell or
That
you're empty.
shell.
And I've seen that where some people are just shallow.
Yes.
They don't have depthness, and they don't have the thing that really would motivate the right character and the right beauty beyond outward beauty.
Yes.
And so they just focus on the outward appearance, but that heart needs some conditioning and some beautification.
Yes.
And I would say this about that, daughters ought to be brought to the house of God.
Absolutely.
Just like you would take them to the beauty shop, bring them to the house of God. This is the inward beauty shop.
Yes.
And it beautifies the meek with salvation.
Yes.
And so they need inward beauty.
Absolutely.
They need to know what a godly woman is like. and they learn godliness from the house of God.
Yes. And they have examples here.
Yes.
When you talk about how you can have example of what to do like in your home, what about example of what to look like? How to engage with your husband. Because you should be seeking a husband and not a wife, right? As a girl.
Yeah.
Or how to engage with your peers, right? How to engage in conflict resolution, how to give those soft answers, how to be loving, right? And I think about the age mothers, right? Teaching the younger ones how to do certain things.
Yes, yes.
And you get those examples in the house of God.
Yeah.
And you see different relationships, whether it's a mother and an older mother and a younger mother, spending time with one another, telling them how to care for their child, or telling them how to care for their husband, or to give them examples about they went through certain things on their job, from how they dress and how they're being mistreated, and encouraging them, right? You're getting really food for that heart to take you on and building those relationships that aren't just for a season, they're for a lifetime. And you get that all in the house of God.
Yeah, yeah, and so we don't want our daughters to just be outwardly beautiful.
No.
We want them to have that inward beauty and know who God ordained them to be.
Yeah.
And with that knowledge, they won't just accept any old body
That's
to
right.
be a husband. When that guy I was talking recently, and the guy he's trying to propose to you, and he's not doing well. Well, don't accept the proposal.
Don't do it.
You know, so you have standards for yourself. I mean, we want our daughters to have standards for themselves.
That's right.
And I got one of my daughters. She came to me, and she's got this list of questionnaire like for this guy. She's got this. I mean, share that with people. It's actually, it's humorous actually, but it's serious. I mean,
Right.
She's adopted some of the things I talked about, like their credit score.
Yes.
You know, and you know, having standards for yourself. Like I know let me say something about the credit score.
Yes.
Because sometimes people may not understand. Well, why are you talking about that? That's personal. However, here's what a credit score tells a daughter or a creditor, that a person's words mean something.
Yes.
It's the credit score says that I honor my word. That's what it can tell that story.
Yeah, that's right.
They can
It's a
tell that story.
commitment.
Yeah, okay. I made a commitment. I made
Yes.
good on my commitment.
That's right.
That's what. That's why it is important, I believe, for a man or even a woman to have a good credit score, because that's equivalent to having a good name.
Yes.
And a good name is better to be chosen than, you know, great revenues or riches or choice silver or gold or what have you. So a good name, that's what that's about.
That's right.
That's what that's about. It's not about, okay, you this and you this high class person. No, you're a quality character person in that you fulfill your commitments.
That's right.
That's why. That's why. Sometimes I don't say all of that, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. You see, like, you know, you're at 275. That you've been saying you're gonna do some stuff you ain't been doing.
No.
you understand where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought about something. You said 275. You benching more than your credit score. That's a problem. That's a problem. But absolutely, especially when you get to that point where you want to marry.
Yeah.
Right. And you get to the point where you're raising your daughters up and say, hey, now you need to begin ready to look for a husband. And when
Yes.
you look for that husband, here are some qualities. Hopefully, like you said, and I really think that was a beautiful example, what you mentioned, some of the things you've been talking about. Your daughter put that out there as her list, right?
Yeah.
And you want your daughters, any daughters, that really is seeking out a righteous example, to take some of the instructions from a father and who he is, to build a list off of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because that means something as a daughter and as a parent. Hey, you've really been listening to me. And so my investment now is coming back because you're showing me that you've been listening. Not just by saying, you're nodding your head and say, yeah, I understand, but now by your deeds and your actions.
Yeah,
You're showing me that you've been listening.
Yeah.
And that instruction and being obedient, that is really going to yield fruit.
Yeah.
Fruit for not just her, but also the father too.
Yeah, and I may share that list one day. But my wife actually, was instructed by her mother to don't marry a guy if he don't have a car.
That's some good instruction.
And however, we were dating, and I had a truck.
Yes, sir.
And my wife told me after about a date or two, well, I was dating her. She
Yes,
wasn't
sir.
my wife at the time, but she told me, she says, I can't marry you unless you have a car. And I look at my truck, I said, but I got a truck. And I went away, I was thinking, I said, I don't know. I don't know about this girl. I don't know. She's into the material and this and that. But I tell you what, somehow or another, she knew that truck just was not reliable. I went to go see her. She lived in Waynesboro. I lived in Atlanta. And so to go to Waynesboro, that's about a 2.5 hour drive.
Right.
So I get in my truck to go see her for a date on a Sunday.
Yes, sir.
And I had on my Sunday clothes,
Yeah.
But to show you how much confidence I had in my own truck, I took some changing clothes just in case I had to walk. and so I left from Flat Shoals Road in East Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
And I got down to around, where was I? Memorial Drive, Covenant Highway, and my truck cut out on me. I didn't get very far.
No, sir.
And then I was on the side of the road. So I just changed my shoes. I was prepared. Oh my God.
But your wife knew better.
Yeah, so I had to let the truck go. And then I did get that car.
Yeah.
But here's what I see in that. That actually generated more respect for my wife because she actually had a standard.
Yes.
Some women, they will accept anything. And some women, but some, their standard is too low. I'll put it like
Absolutely.
that. Their standard is too low. And so we want our daughters to have not unreasonably high standards, but you are valuable.
Yes.
You should not just accept anybody to be your head.
That's right.
Because as a daughter, whoever you marry is actually going to be your head.
That's right.
So what you need to think about, daughter, is how does he think? How does he make decisions? So what is his quality of life like, and what is his goals and aspirations? Not how he look only. No. I'm not saying you shouldn't be attracted to the guy, but how he look, his clothes. I wasn't a good dresser. I wasn't. I'm not saying I'm so, but my wife, she helps me now.
Right.
Like even the shirt I'm wearing, she helped me
Look
pick
good
it
on you,
out.
Pastor.
Well, thank you. But a lot of things now, my wife helps me with that. Here's the thing about that: the clothes, that's superficial. You can help him with that.
Yes.
Say, well, he don't dress nice, but he's educated.
Yes.
He thinks well. He's mannerable. He's got great characteristics and great character.
Yes.
But you're just looking at a superficial thing. Don't do that.
Don't do that. And I will say, some of the questions that you pose, you should be asking those on the front side. Yeah. Don't just get caught away with he got brown eyes and the wavy hair and the muscles, and then next thing you know, you caught up and some of the things like a credit score, what's been going on in his past, and all these other things that you find out after the fact. Ask those things on the front side. So having that list actually it lessens some stress later on.
Yes.
But how you develop that list is your relationship with your father.
Yes.
And being able to say, hey, from the inside out, this is what I need internally to make me happy.
Yes. But now you say the relationship with your father, but we've got to be proactive in our relationship with our daughters.
Yes.
And because we don't want to see them make a long-term mistake in a marriage that they could have avoided.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely. And have those conversations. I keep those conversations are important.
I said marriage, and I meant that. I want to interject as well relationships that they should avoid. Because
Oh, yes.
sometimes you can, some daughters, they go into these abusive relationships even before marriage.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes they seem like they don't value themselves as they should and accept things that they never should have they never should have opened the door to certain treatment.
Right.
Never, never. But then they've allowed it and started in this path. And sometimes women habitually choose men that are low quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some women have done that over and over. What I'm saying, they say, I'm leaving this guy, and they leave this guy. They do leave. They do leave. But they find another one as equally bad or worse.
Right. Right. That happens. That happens.
Have you seen that?
I have seen it. I have seen situations where the woman can be doing well for themselves, job, car, but the man that they're so infatuated with doesn't have either, and bringing them down to the point where they lose their job or their car or both.
Yeah.
And that's who they are attracted to, and you really, as a father, you want to try to, not saying every situation is that case, but you want to try to instill something in that daughter to where she knows her self-worth and her standard is higher, right? Her standard says, hey, this is what I'm expecting out of not just my husband, but my relationship with a friend. It could be a friend that's bringing you down. It could be a friend that's enticing you to do something that you know you should not be doing, like going out or skipping school or trying this cigarette.
Not just going out, sneaking out.
Sneaking out. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, tucking the little pillows together and you just climbing out the window. They done created a whole plan for you.
Yeah. And they try to help you with it and covering for you,
Yeah.
right? So you want to make sure that whoever that relationship is built with, that it's not a relationship that's built upon things that's gonna make you look bad. And you also mentioned earlier, Pastor, about your name, about the commitment and your credit score. You don't want your name to be tarnished, whether you're growing up in high school and college in your community. Oh, that's so and so daughter. That's so and so. She does this or she does that. You want to have a good name. You want to have that influence that, hey, that's a holy young lady. That young lady, yeah, she's the one that wears skirts, but she's holy. Like she's not talking out the side of her neck or talking crazy. She actually is very manual. She's one who does whatever she says she's going to do. And that reputation will help you go far.
Yeah, and here's something else I like to think about, for a moment or so, is being attractive. What do you want to attract?
That's true.
You understand? So because, some of the young ladies now, they are attractive, all right, but what are they attracting?
Yeah.
They're attracting what's all really need to be thrown back.
Yes.
And then if you need to be thrown back, you're not attracting the right thing.
No.
With and if you dress provocatively, and so we just really want to encourage our girls. Okay, look, holiness is beautiful.
It is.
And modest, and to be covered. You're still attractive.
Yes.
Now, when you uncover yourself, you're going to be attractive, but to this type of guy.
That's
and
right.
just make it real for them.
Right.
Make it real for them.
Thinking about your whatever bait you're throwing out there, that's what kind of person you're gonna get back. If you're showing your bosoms and your behind out, what do you think you're gonna get back? Someone who's not valuing your ideas, valuing how you think, valuing how you speak about certain things. They're only valuing for your physical. But when you cover up and you allow that person to get to understand who you are, to value your conversation, your chaste words, to value how you think and interpret ideas, then that is what is going to build value in your relationship with that person, as opposed to the physical. Then the physical is just a plus. But if you put the physical out there first, then that's all they're going to know you for and respect you for. So covering up and allowing them the opportunity to have that conversation, to understand how you interpret ideas, to understand how you foster up an environment to where you want to think about a 2-year plan or a 5-year plan, to what's your ideal situation, or what's your euphoric state in society, being able to understand some of those concepts and competencies to be able to say, if this person truly is compatible to where I want to be at 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. And then a great question is, where you go to church at?
Yeah. Where you getting your spiritual?
Yeah.
How you feeding your spiritual man?
Yes.
And so, Really, a lot of these things we can help our daughters
We can.
if we take the time with them
Yes.
and nurture them and guide them and bring them up in the way that they should go.
Yes.
The scripture says, train up a child in the way they should go, so that when they get old, they will not depart from the way.
right.
And so that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. We want to foster those relationships. And I like the term you use, invest into our daughters, and help them to know you're valuable, you are loved,
Yes.
you are beautiful, you are what God has designed and made.
Yes.
And all you do, the main thing that you should do to be more beautiful is to get more in God.
That's right.
To be more beautiful,
That's
let
right.
God begin to work on your insides
Yes.
and beautify you from the inside out.
Absolutely.
And then He can guide you into all those other things you should do.
Yes.
But He is the one that makes you beautiful. He's the one that separated you from your mother's womb. He's the one that's going to take you on to that great day.
That's
and
right.
so let's do what we can as fathers to nurture the relationship with our daughters.
Absolutely.
Our sons too. We didn't mean to leave y'all boys. We love you too, but we just felt it necessary to have this conversation about the relationships that fathers have with their daughters, because a lot of times now in society now we're seeing father-daughter, daddy issues play out in a very bad way.
Yes.
And so we want to help. And so let's grow in grace. And in this area of our life, if you are a daughter, develop a better relationship with your dad if you can. If you are a father, it's really on the father to reach out and to do that and be proactive about these things. And so with that, I say thank you for coming to be with us and have this conversation with us. Thank you, Deacon Cameron Searcy.
Yes, sir.
And all of your family that you put on blast. No, it was good. They should be proud of what you said. Love your father. And baby doll, don't be angry. You told everybody her nickname. But that's your baby doll. But we appreciate everyone. Come back next week and then let's grow in grace together. May God bless you and may heaven smile upon you. Until next time.